Hey everyone, did you know you could make wine at home using a simple Costco wine kit? Today we're going to walk you through the entire process from opening the box to bottling your final wine. Everything you need comes right in the box: the grape juice concentrate, the yeast, the clarifying agents, and step-by-step instructions. These kits are designed for beginners requiring minimal equipment and are a great way to start wine making at home. You just need a few things. You need a carboid, an airlock, and a stir stick to get started. At this stage, we're starting to fill up our carboid, but know that we have sterilized it, which is a very important step in this process. The instructions do tell you how much water to add to your carboid. However, we've done this on multiple occasions and we know to fill it about 3/4 full. And water temperature is important, so you want to make sure it's around room temperature. Anything over that, you can impact your yeast, and anything lower than that will reduce the effectiveness of your yeast. The next step in the process is to open the box and get out the grape juice concentrate to be added to the carboid. One thing I didn't mention earlier is that these Costco kits come with 2 wine kits per box, which is amazing. Here we are just adding the grape juice concentrate to the carboid. We just pour it in. It can get a little messy, and if you're making red wine, make sure you clean it up right away because it will stain. You want to leave some space in the top of your carboid. This will off gas, it will bubble, and it can actually come out of the top if you're not careful. So we always leave a little bit on the top. But what we usually do is once we add the grape juice concentrate, we will wash the bag out with water and then add that to the top of the carboid as well. At this stage, we're putting everything from the second kit back in the box and only keeping out those items we need to get started. Next step is to add the bentonite to the grape juice concentrate and give it a good stir. And the bentonite is there as a clarifying agent. Next step would be to add your oak chips if your kit does come with them, and then give them a good stir. And once you've stirred everything together, this is where you want to add the yeast to your kit. This kicks off fermentation where sugar turns into alcohol, and after a gentle stir, you want to add the airlock. So you can begin the fermentation process. The airlock is you add a little bit of water to it. That allows the carboid to off gas, but it doesn't allow air to go into your carboid. At this stage, you're moving your carboid to a warm, dark location where it can begin its fermenting process. And this happens for about 14 days. At this step, I usually will add the instructions to the wall just so I have the next steps and make sure I'm kind of on track for what needs to be done. And I always add the date that we started the process on those instructions. Where there is steps that I need to ensure I do, I will highlight them just to make sure I don't miss them. And the instructions can seem a little bit overwhelming, but once you've done it a couple of times, it's actually fairly straightforward on what the process is. This is the easiest part of the whole process. For the next 14 days, you're just going to ensure that your wine is fermenting, and you're going to see that through bubbles, and your airlock will kind of be popping at the top, and you're going to stir it on a regular basis. So I stir mine about twice a day just to make sure that everything is moving and that it is fermenting. If you're having challenges with the fermenting, so you're not seeing any bubbles or anything, you probably need to add some heat to your room. So if you don't have the ability to add heat, we have added towels around the carboy just to try to keep it at a certain temperature. On day 14, you're going to add the 2 agents that have been provided in the kit, and this is for degassing and stabilizing. You're going to add each one separately and stir in between each. Once you get the second package in, you're going to stir that vigorously for about 5 minutes just to ensure that you start the degassing process. So if you have towels around your carboy, you're going to want to remove them. You just want it a little bit cooler than it was before. At day 15, you do have the ability to start the clearing process. However, if you find that your wine is still very gassy, you may want to take a couple of extra days and just continue the stirring process. At this stage, you can add the clearing agent. And then from there, we actually let our wine sit for a couple of weeks. This allows it to age and flavor. Okay, we're 28 days in, and it's time to start bottling. There are a number of tools you can use to do the siphoning, but we prefer the auto siphoning racking cane. Try to say that 3 times. During the bottling process, we find it easier for 2 of us to be involved. One of us is holding the auto siphoner and the other one is filling the bottles. It goes faster and it's less messy. Another reason why we do it this way is that you'll hear from some people that they actually rack their wine throughout the process, which means they siphon it out of the carboy they're currently working in and into another one and getting rid of the sediment that sits at the bottom. We choose not to do that. At the clearing stage, we actually tip the carboy slightly, put a towel under it. That way the sediment all falls to one corner of the carboy. So when you do the siphoning, you just have to ensure that you're holding the siphoning tube so that it's not sitting in the sediment. Next step is actually corking the bottles, and the corks do need to be soaked in warm water for about 5 minutes before you start that process. The last tool you're going to need in this process is the wine corker, and they can be expensive, but you can find them on Marketplace, or some places might rent them, but we were very fortunate and were gifted this wine corker. And the final step before you can start drinking your wine is putting the labels on it. You can also add toppers, which actually kind of finish off the bottles, and if you are giving it away, I would personally consider adding those toppers, but because this is for our personal use, we're just going to add the labels. And that's all there really is to this process. You can do other things to your wine, such as there are tools that will help you measure the alcohol levels within your wine, but we choose not to do that. We're happy with our process and we don't want to make it complicated or expensive. I hope you enjoy this, and I hope you try to make wine at home yourself.